Day 22, and we're about to leave Neist Point. Today we're going to be heading around the north side of Skye, eventually getting to Staffin, and the campsite we stayed at last time we were here. You may notice that the view behind me, which is the same as the view from our window, or the van, no longer exists. The fog rolled in last night and we are completely greyed out. We can see some sheep. Not long after the sunset, the place cleared of cars, and I'm sure very soon it will be rammed, although the journey up here is not going to be much fun given that fog. And although you can't see it, there are a stack of camper vans at the other end of this long, thin car park. We stayed where we first parked. A, because we had a good view, and B, we didn't want to get in with all those other vans. The sheep are not fazed by the fog. The fog over at Neist Point didn't last too long as we headed inland, which is good, because that road would have been a bloody nightmare with all the traffic and no visibility. So we moved on round. We went past Dunvegan Castle, because that's just not our thing. It's a modern tourist attraction. I think 17 quid to get in, and I'm sure it's very nice, but as I've said a number of times, not really our thing. We've now come to this God-forbidden car park. It's a right dump, to go and have a look at the Coral Beaches, which are about a mile's walk away. There is still a bit of a mist clinging to the sea over the loch here. And the forecast for today, sadly, is not as good as it was yesterday. So it's going to be grey and around 17, 18 degrees. We'll take that. We'll definitely take it. I'm going to take a wild guess that sandy beach over there is our destination. Now there's a place to spend the night. That's a big old tent I've lugged all the way down here. I should really check out and find out why it's called Coral Beach. Is it because the beach is made of broken up coral? Or is it because there's coral in the sea off to my left? I can't see anything that looks like coral in there, but there again, what would I know? That in front of me that looks like sand is most definitely not sand. It does look like broken down bitty bits of coral. The water is incredibly clear. With the sun coming out, you'd be forgiven for thinking we were somewhere like the Caribbean. Seriously, check that out. Checking with Google, I can confirm that they are called Coral Beaches after the beach, not because there's coral in the sea to my right now. And in fact, it's not coral, it is the crushed, bleached remains of some form of seaweed. I'll put it down below. I can't remember. But it does look very much like crushed coral, hence the name. And there's another cool spot to be spending the night. As we continue our journey around the north side of Skye, we've come up the Waternish Peninsula to a place called Trumpan. The idea is to have lunch here and enjoy the views over Loch Dunvegan. Those views apparently being behind me. Clearly, Trumpan is a bit like Neist Point in that it is fogged out, so there's no views. But off to my right, there is an old church and a graveyard, so we'll go and check that out after some lunch. We have a nice notice board explaining what the view would be, but clearly there is no view for us today. Bleak though this place is, it doesn't have the Sergio Leone vibe that quite a few of the others have that we've been to. The fog does give it a nice eerie sense. Home for tonight brings us back to Staffin and the campsite we stayed at last time. We're going to be here for a couple of nights, and tomorrow, not sure, we're either going to go to the Old Manor's store and do a hike there, or we're going to go up into the mountains and go and look at the Fairy Glen. When we stayed here last time, we took a walk down towards the coast, down the long old road to the harbour or the port, up into the village, where we stopped for a bacon roll and a cup of tea before the weather turned, or as the weather turned, and we got horizontal rain on the way back. A good hike, but not the best conditions for walking out in. As you saw at the Coral Beach, it was beautiful sunshine. Well, it turned into beautiful sunshine. That sadly didn't last too long. And over here on the east coast of Skye, it's blooming cold. The temperature has dropped right down from what it was yesterday. But hey, we're in Scotland and it hasn't yet rained today. As always, we'll take that as a big plus.